Hi, today we are going to be graphing linear inequalities. So we're continuing with our unit on inequalities. So they're not too different from graphing lines. So you've been graphing linear equations. There's just two little changes that you're going to see because there's a solid or a dashed line and then there's some shading with inequalities, but the rest is all the same. So some important things that you need to know. So similar to the open and closed circle, if it is less than or greater than, it's going to be a dashed line. And we do that to show that the points on the line are not part of the solution. If it's less than or equal to or greater to, we do a solid line. And that's to show that points on the line are part of the solution. Then if we have y is less than or y is less than or equal to, we are going to shade below the line. So if that was our line, I'm going to shade below. You shade underneath the line because y is less than or equal to. If y is greater than or equal to, you're going to shade above the line. Okay, so let's say you're told to graph y is greater than negative 2x minus 1. So first you need to determine if it is a solid or a dashed line and where you're going to shade. This is really the only new step. So you're going to look up here and you're going to look at the symbol. And since y is greater than, remember that line is not part of the solution. And so we're going to show that by using a dashed line. So this inequality symbol tells us it is a dashed line. And then since it's greater than, well, where are the values going to be greater than that line? Above the line, because y is greater than. And so we're going to shade above the line. And that's really the only new thing for today. So once you do that, then it's exactly how you graphed linear equations in the linear functions unit. So we're going to have to sketch our own graph. x-axis and our y-axis. And we are going to graph the line. Using the y-intercept and slope. So remember, B is your y-intercept and M is your slope. So we're going to graph the -1 first. That's our y-intercept. Then our slope is -2. So we know our line's going down. And so if I go up 2, I have to go to the left 1. Or I can go down 2 and I'd have to go to the right 1 because it's a negative slope. My line is going down. And then once I do that, I'm going to use this information to draw my line. I'm going to draw a dashed line and I'm going to shade above. So step 3, you're going to draw your line and shade. So use what you've determined on step 1. So we said it is a dashed line in step 1. And we said you have to shade above. So put your pen down or your pencil on it and say, if I shade here, is this above my pen? No, that's below my pen. If I shade up here, is that above my pen? Yes. So that is the region that you are going to shade. That means that every point in this shaded region will make our inequality true. And so let's prove that region is the solution. So your last step, you're going to pick a point. And check your answer. So 1, 1's a nice point to check. So if I plug in 1, 1, that's in my shaded region, it should make my inequality true. So let's see. If I have y is greater than -2x minus 1, and I plug in, this is x and this is y, 1, is that greater than -2 times x, which is 1, minus 1, let's see, -2 times 1 is -2, -2 minus 1 is -3. Is 1 greater than -3? Yes, it is. So I know that the region I shaded is correct, and that any point in this shaded region will make this inequality true. Let's go ahead and do one more on your graphing linear inequalities assignment. So first we're going to determine if it is a solid or dashed line and where to shade, because that's step 1 in our notes. So looking at our inequality, y is less than or equal to. So since it's equal to, it is a solid line. And y is less than, right? The point is pointing at the y, so you're going to shade below the line. Okay, so that's the new part. Now we're just going to graph our line using the slope and the y-intercept. So -4 is our slope. -1 is our y-intercept. So we're going to go to the y-intercept of -1. Our slope is -4, so our line's going down. So if we go down 1, 2, 3, 4, our slope is -4/1. So I have to go over to the right 1. If I go up 1, 2, 3, 4, I go to the left 1. Okay, so then we graphed the line using the y-intercept and slope. Now I'm going to draw my line and shade using the info from the first step. So we said it's a solid line, and I'm going to shade below. So I'm going to draw a solid line through my points, and I'm going to shade below the line. So again, you can always put your pen or pencil down. Say, is this below the line, or is this below the line? Or below the pen. This side is below the pen. So that's where you're going to shade. And then the last step is we need to pick a point and check our answer. So I'm going to pick -1, +1. This point right here. I'm going to pick -1, +1. And that should make my inequality true if I graphed it correctly. So -1 is my x, and +1 is my y. It's 1 less than or equal to -4 times -1 minus 1. -4 times -1 is +4, and is 1 less than or equal to 4 minus 1, which is 3. Yes, 1 is less than 3, so that is correct, and I know I graphed and shaded correctly. Okay, go ahead and complete your assignment. Make sure to shade and check a point.